stocks trade range after US and China agree on a trade framework, but China's curbs on exports to India are a new bother. Oil and gas stocks are beginners while FMCG drags. China's curbs on rare earth magnet exports are starting to pinch, with Maruti Suzuki likely to push back the launch of its e-Vitara. The auto major also trimmed its output target for the model till September. Maharashtra has raised excise duty on Indian-made foreign liquor while keeping the levy on beer and wine unchanged, sparking big moves in the stock. The state has also introduced a new category for liquor made locally. US and China reach an agreement on trade after high-level talks, and the negotiators will now seek approvals from Trump as well as Xi Jinping before implementing this based on the Geneva framework. Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into Business Lunch, coming live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Vinny Motiwala, and thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. What we're seeing in terms of a trading session coming in, pretty much a muted day that we are seeing coming in from the broader end of the market. But benchmark indices, like you can see, are managing to hold on to green. So Nifty, day's highest point as of now, 25,200 is what the Nifty is holding on to. Sensex holding on to similar level of gains as well. So good performance coming in from the benchmark indices. Now let's pull up the mid and small cap. That's where a bit of a subduedness is coming in, a bit of an underperformance in today's trading session is what we're seeing from the broader end of the market. Nifty Midcap as of now has slipped into the red again. Small cap is just flip-flopping between the red and the green so far, so keep an eye out on that. What is doing well today? We are seeing those oil and gas names that are buzzing in trade, right? You saw IOC, HPCL, BPCL buzzing in trade after the US oil body Energy Information Administration has released the crude oil outlooks. On the back of that, we're seeing all these names buzzing in the trading session. What's not doing well? What is the sector that is in the red today? We have Nifty FMCG that's trading in the red today. So you're seeing some bit of a subduedness coming in for Nifty FMCG, trading almost at the day's lowest point, down almost 0.5% in today's trading session. But on that note, let's shift focus and put the spotlight on alcohol beverage companies, right? They are in focus. Why? Maharashtra government has hiked excise duty on Indian-made foreign liquor by 50 to 60%. Mangalam is here to get us more details on this front. Mangalam, over to you.
Well, look at United Spirits, look at Radico Khaitan, and look at Allied Blenders today. All of them are lower in today's trading session, and sharply lower that too, because the Maharashtra government has gone ahead and hiked excise duty, and the following changes will be made in excise duty rates. Indian-made foreign liquor, the excise duty has been increased from 3 times of cost of production versus to 4.5 times. So that's a 50% jump. Remember, these stood to benefit from the duty reduction on import of bulk scotch as well. So in lieu of that, there has been this increase. Excise duty on country liquor has been increased by 14% from 180 rupees to 205 rupees. And there has been a new category introduced, grain-based foreign liquor called Maharashtra-made liquor, which is, permits to be given to people who are producing this only in Maharashtra, for which they will have to reapply for all of these licenses. So put all of this together, the minimum retail price for a 180 ml bottle would be 80 rupees for country liquor, 148 rupees for Maharashtra-made liquor, and 205 rupees for IMFL. For premium foreign brand, it would be about 360 rupees. For United Spirits and Radico Khaitan, nearly 20 to 22% revenue comes in from Maharashtra for United Spirits, 7 to 8% on Radico Khaitan. All things being equal, Street expects about a 6 to 8% EPS impact on United Spirits and 2 to 3% on Radico Khaitan, and similar is the expectation on Allied Blenders as well. But amidst all of this, there are 3 stocks in particular which are doing a lot better in today's trading session. GM Breweries up in mid-teens, and that's largely because the Street expects the company to benefit from the introduction of the Maharashtra-made liquor category, though they will have to re-register the brands with the state. The second part is United Breweries. That's doing well as there has been no increase in duty in beer, and the Street expects shift from, spirits to the premium beer category, another thing that United Breweries has been pushing as well. And finally, we're looking at Sula Vineyards. That stock too is high in today's trading session because wine is one not mentioned in the excise duty increase. Maharashtra is the largest producer of wine in the country, and the stock itself is down about 40% from its highs because of weak growth. So can all of this spur growth back into an underperforming stock is what the Street is betting on, and that stock, as a result of which, higher today.
Thank you so much for that, Mangalam. But just marking the flashes at the bottom of your screens, we have government sources who are saying that the Power Minister, Manohar Lal, is to conduct stakeholder consultation on market coupling and ministers to apprise stakeholders on the benefit of market coupling going forward. Whenever it takes place, market coupling will happen through broad bid, not an internal bid, is the word coming in so far. This is according to government sources. IEX is the stock that we're keeping an eye out on right now. But other than that, let's move on, and the government is now exploring course of action for India rare earth and can be leveraged for production of these rare earth magnets in India. Parikshit is joining in with us to give us the details on this front. Parikshit, we've heard a lot coming in, especially in terms from China, but what is India doing on this front? What are you picking up now?
Well, this seems to be a very grave issue for the Indian automotive industry. In the near term, there doesn't seem to be a solution apart from stopping production if the industry does not get those rare earth magnets from China. There is no alternative source at the moment. Having said that, the government is holding almost daily meetings when it comes to the rare earth magnet issue. The Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal held a meeting on Sunday with all automakers. The message was that the government will do whatever it can to support medium to long-term self-reliance in rare earth magnets. One issue that is being explored right now is how India Rare Earth Limited, which is an existing PSU looking into mining of rare earth, how this PSU can be leveraged, its capabilities can be leveraged in order to have a domestic supply base of rare earth magnets that the industry needs. At the same time, how can public-private partnerships be considered with India Rare Earths Limited so as to increase its capacity to manufacture in the months to come. The government is also considering ways to give capital subsidies, incentives, maybe a PLI scheme to the industry to have a domestic assembly, processing, and also recycling of used rare earth magnets in India as well. All of this is going to take time. But what will happen over the next 3 to 4 months in the near term? Well, we've been told by our sources that the Indian embassy in China, the Indian ambassador, has taken up this issue with the Chinese Commerce Ministry. They are seeking transparency in the application process and the early approvals of applications. The Director General of Foreign Trade in India also held a meeting with automakers to discuss this issue. While the applications have been cleared from the Indian side, they are pending with the Chinese government. 30 to 35 automakers, component makers have sent applications to China. None of them have been approved. An Indian industry delegation was supposed to go to China for a meeting with the Chinese Commerce Ministry. They are yet to get clearances. And when I say clearances, essentially they are yet to get a meeting with the Chinese government. Let's see what happens. But clearly this is a tricky issue. The government is trying to see how this can be resolved diplomatically in the next 2 months. But a PLI scheme is also being considered for the long term.
Absolutely, Parikshit. Thank you so much for that. A tricky issue, important to watch out for in the next couple of months, how these discussions will go and what is the solution we come out from the India point of view as well. But now shifting focus, and sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the Customs Department issued notices to 2,000 copper importers for paying low duty for several years. Timsy is joining in with us to give us more information on this front. Timsy, afternoon. What are you picking up here?
Well, yes, what we are given to understand from sources is the fact that the Customs Department is probing a case that is a pan-India case of duty evasion by the copper importers under the India-ASEAN FTA. What we are given to understand that the Customs Department currently has issued notices to over 2,000 copper importers for paying lower duty, that is at around 0% by wrong classification, whereas they are liable to pay 35% is what the Customs Department say as per the value addition rules, and thus they have demanded the payback from the industry along with demands of bank guarantees. Meanwhile, Customs Department in these notices have actually come forward saying that they have validated this through third-party data from producers in Vietnam, and that is what is backing their claims. On the other hand, when it comes to how industry has reacted to it, well, industry has approached Finance Ministry, knocking the doors at Finance Minister's office along with the Revenue Department, seeking an urgent intervention because this, according to them, is arbitrary And yes, these retrospective claims are actually impacting the entire sector. Industry via Bombay Metal Exchange has issued an urgent appeal to the Finance Ministry urging immediate action. They claim that these imports are essential for AC and refrigerator manufacturers in India who are getting impacted, and these claims are arbitrary and retrospective, which should not be the case because it does not go well with the FTA's spirit. So let's see what happens finally in terms of how do these customs notices actually fare out for the industry, whether the department gets some payout or it lands up at the courts again in a legal battle. Something
absolutely,
that we have to wait and watch for.
Absolutely, Timsi. That is what we'll be watching out for. But on that note, we're going to actually slip into a very short break. So thank you so much, Timsi, for that. But here's some update coming in for our viewers as we slip into the break. Stay updated on our favorite stocks with money control. Super Pro receive real-time alerts with AI stock update features of Super Pro and get insights on key corporate announcements on stocks of your choice for quick decision making. Get your investment superpower today. Subscribe now. Welcome back to Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Now let's move on, and sources say that the government is encouraging financial entities to use Central Registry of Securitization Asset Reconstruction and Security Interest Data for KYC. Sapna is joining in with us to give us more details on this front. Sapna.
Well, what we are picking up is definitely on these lines that, the government is very keen that the practice of giving central KYC a unique number, it's a unique ID, that should be given by the regulated entities to the existing customers. This is what should be used. Basically, they are trying, the government, along with all the other stakeholders, including the financial sector regulators, they are really trying to push this because the practice of using a central KYC in terms of your overall KYC process can really help in cross-utilization of the data where all the other financial sector regulators don't have to keep asking for the same documents again and again. Like you switch from one bank to another, again your KYC documents are asked for. So basically, the onboarding of existing customers should be done on the basis of the central KYC unique ID. But what we are observing is that probably this practice is not really picked up to the extent that is required. So government is making an all-out effort. A lot of sensitization has already happened in terms of financial regulators telling their regulated entities, as well as the government coming up with this matter also in the FSDC meetings, which have just got concluded yesterday. The finance minister has also reiterated that the entire process of KYC should not only be digitized, but also should be simplified. One last quick point here in terms of downloads, uploads and updates. That's a very important criterion to judge the sanctity of the central online registry. Well, those downloads have really gone up. 150 crore is what we're talking about as of May 31, but the government wants to encourage that even further.
Absolutely, Sapna. Thank you so much for that. Now, moving on to an exclusive. Governments also say that the Power Minister Manohar Lal is planning to conduct stakeholder consultation on market coupling. Abhimanyu is here to give us more details on this one. Abhimanyu, over to you.
Well, what we have learned from sources is that Power Minister Manohar Lal is going to meet stakeholders over the issue of market coupling and is going to apprise stakeholders about the benefits of market coupling. Also, sources have indicated that whenever it takes place, whenever market coupling takes place, it will take through a broad bid and not an internal bid. Now, market coupling by definition means aggregation and match of buy and sell bids by power exchanges for a uniform price discovery. And if at all, market coupling, when it takes place, it will imply a single price for electricity to be traded at any point through the power exchanges. Now, it has been some time since market coupling has been indicated that the policy would come out in the public domain, but there hasn't been any activity on that front. There have been indications which have been given since the past few years by several ministers, even in the previous government, that is from 2019 to 2024. The then Power Minister R.K. Singh had indicated that market market coupling will eventually take place, but had refused to ascribe any timeline to that. Also, on the 21st of February, the Power Secretary had indicated that the Ministry and the CERC were reviewing the Grid Controller of India's report on market coupling, and a government official last year in September 2024 had also told CNBC-TV18 that market coupling is on the cards, but had refused to ascribe any timeline to that. And now, with the fresh set of inputs, of course, it remains to be seen how early this meeting would take place, what kind of suggestions would be given by stakeholders, and what action would further be taken by the minister.
Okay, Abhimanyu, thank you so much for that. And since the time we flashed the story, you're seeing that the stock has fallen in trade. But Abhimanyu, do hang on with us, because India-US bilateral trade agreement negotiations are also something that will be taking place 4th of June to 10th of June in New Delhi. And you were tracking this as well when these updates happened. Could you give us more details on the discussions as well as the negotiations that happen right now?
Well, the negotiations took place between the Indian negotiating team and the visiting team from the United States, which was led by the Assistant U.S. Trade Representative from the 4th June to the 10th of June in New Delhi. And now several issues pertaining to market access, pertaining to technical barriers to trade, legal framework, and also several other concerns on sanitary and phytosanitary issues were discussed between both the sides. Now, both the sides are looking to sign an interim deal before the 9th of July to avert the applicability of reciprocal tariffs, which have been stayed till the 9th of July by the United States. And both the sides are also looking for the first tranche of a bilateral trade agreement, which they are looking to sign by the September or October of this year. Now, concerns exist on both the sides. There are sensitive issues for which both the sides are making their respective pitches. Speaking of India's stand, India till now has indicated that it is going to bilaterally resolve the issue of steel and aluminium tariffs, which have been levied by the United States. Also, India may be looking at a minimum import price for products in the dairy and agriculture sector to protect sensitivities. Apart from that, market access continues to be a big issue for both the sides, even as negotiations continue, and both the sides are looking to conclude negotiations at the earliest.
Okay, Abhimanyu, thank you so much for that and giving us the updates on both the fronts as well. But on that note, we're going to step into a very short break. We'll bring you more on the US-China trade talks on the other side of the break, so do stay tuned in. Welcome back to Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Now, updates coming in on the US-China trade talk front. After 2 days of trade talks, US and China reached an agreement to ease retaliatory tariffs as well as the restrictions on the export of rare earths. We have CNBC's Sylvia Amaro, who's getting us the latest update on this front.
U.S. and Chinese trade officials have agreed on a trade framework after 2 days of talks here in London. In the words of the U.S. Commerce Secretary, it puts meat on the bones of a deal reached last month in Geneva to ease bilateral tariffs. We have little insight, however, on what has actually been agreed after talks wrapped up at around midnight local time. What we do know, though, is that the deal adds to what was decided in Geneva last month, with both sides agreeing to ease tariffs, while also easing China's export restrictions on rare earths. China's International Trade Representative Li Changgang and the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick offered measured remarks after talks drew to a close.
In the past 2 days, the Chinese and the U.S. teams have had in-depth exchanges. Our communication is very professional, regional, in-depth, and candid. In principle, both sides agreed on implementing the consensus reached by the two heads of state on the June 5th in the phone calls and also the Geneva talks.
I think both sides had extra impetus in order to get things done because we both have our presidents behind us, pushing us to make sure we take care of our respective sides.
And then some more on big news coming in from the United States. A billionaire and Tesla CEO Elon Musk has apologized on X for his recent post on President Donald Trump. He wrote on X that he regretted that some of his tweets had gone too far. Now, shifting focus, protests against U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration policies continued in Los Angeles. On Tuesday, local authorities mandated a curfew in some areas of the city. Los Angeles Police Department said that the protesters were being addressed and mass arrests are being initiated. The arrests and the curfew followed several days of intense protests against the ICE raids, leading to clashes between demonstrators as well as the law enforcement. Widespread vandalism and some looting, particularly during the late night and early morning hours. The curfew, which began at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, will last till 6 a.m. local time on Wednesday. Earlier, police arrested another 197 people for the violence there. Meanwhile, the launch of Axiom 4 mission carrying India's Shubhanshu Shukla and 3 others to the International Space Station has been postponed again due to the leak of liquid oxygen in the rocket. This is the second delay in as many days, and Shukla's travel to space will mark India's return to human space flight after over 41 years. And with that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of Business Lunch on CNBC TV 18. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, your Midcap Radar.